And you are doing all these things in your first term, whereby you would naturally want a second term and you should be pampering the people. Are you an overconfident or a courageous man, Bola Ahmed Tinubu? Are you an overconfident or a courageous man? Because all the action that he has been taking, he has been damning the consequence. Because we are in a democracy. If people, you can only kind of like gain that second term if majority of people are not against you. If people come out all en masse against you, there's no way you can force yourself into power. Because if the North are not in your support, if the Southwest, your people, are not buying into your policies, the Southeast are not in support of you, the South doesn't have your time, how do you want to win again as president? And if you don't want to hear the truth, if you don't want to, for people to kind of like talk about you, don't come to public office. If you are in public office, you belong to the people. Hello, great people. Something has been running through my mind lately about the man Bola Ahmed Tinubu, President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And I thought, who do I share this with? So I decided that no other person is worth sharing it with than my politic family. So anything I think politically as a political scientist, this is where I share my views. And this are not just ordinary views. This is an expert opinion because I am a political scientist by training. So in this episode of Politing with Dr. Omoshola Deji, we'll be looking at the man Bola Ahmed Tinubu, his actions. And I've been thinking in my mind, is Bola Ahmed Tinubu an overconfident man or a courageous man? So I'll be taking you step by step about some of the actions of the president, some of his orations, for you to kind of like have a perspective of whether is this man overconfident or is courageous. To start with, recently there was an announcement that the petroleum pump price have been moved by NNPCL from 568 naira that the NNPCL is selling it to almost 900 naira. And there are reports that in some part of the country, some people might be getting it for as much as over 1,000 naira. So it now occurred to me that when this announcement was made, the president was not in the country. And simultaneously, when the announcement was made, there are also what's on the street that the president, or should I say the federal government, is trying to improve VAT. VAT means value added tax. It's trying to add 10%. What that simply means, to break it down for you, is if you are buying something for 2,000 naira before, if federal government add 10% value added tax, the producer of that something is going to push that burden to you. So that means that what you are buying for 2,000 naira before, if you add 10%, which is 200 naira, will automatically be 2,200 naira. And don't forget that the producer of that goods is also going to pay VAT for the ingredient that is used to produce such product. Let's say bread or biscuit, for example. So if the producer adds 10% and the 10% now, the producer also had 10% to the cost of the goods and services, you can imagine how the price of goods will increase, especially when petroleum price has also increased. So it is double increment for Nigerian people. So it's safe to say double wahala. But in this case, it's double wahala for the living being, not for the dead body. Like the way Fela Anikulapo said it. So now it is double wahala for Nigeria. But let's look at this. Is the president an overconfident man or a courageous man? Because fuel subsidy has not been removed before and the president is outside the country. Take my word, do your research. Don't just take anything I say, don't just key into it. No, just do a little bit of research. To my mind, I stand to be corrected. Fuel subsidy have never been removed while the president is outside the country. If fuel subsidy is going to be removed, it usually takes rigorous consultation, rigorous planning with stakeholders, with labor, so that when it is removed, there won't be much protest and agitation because you have already dialogued and spoken with the stakeholders. But in this case, the president is not in the country and no reasonable dialogue was done with stakeholders like labor, civil societies, oil marketers, the people that have say in all these things. No much dialogue was done. All we just saw is an increment of about 45% increase, not 10% increase, not 5% increase, 55% increase. So that makes me wonder, that is the president not afraid that this increment in petroleum pump price, what if it leads to a massive protest? If it leads to a massive protest and he is not around, is he not afraid of coup? That, oh, can this lead to coup? Can this lead to a changeover of government? You know that when you are not around, it is easy to dethrone you. You may want to read the story of how Yakubu Gowon, that oversaw the Biafran Civil War, how he was removed from office. Yakubu Gowon was attending an OAU conference, meeting of African head of state. Because he wasn't around, the mighty Yakubu Gowon that led Nigeria war against Biafra was removed easily. So is Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is he not a student of history? That if you remove fuel subsidy, what if it boomerangs and there is protest like the one that happened when Jonathan removed fuel subsidy during the Occupy Nigeria? So imagine if Jonathan was not in the country at that time and the whole Nigerians were angry and people are burning tires, people are rioting, looting, protesting, and you are not in the country. Doesn't it make it easy for you to be removed from office? So that is the genesis of me thinking, whether is this man a confident man, or should I say overconfident man, or is he just a courageous man? I will answer that question at the end of this video by looking at the attitude of courageous men, why they take decisions that are deemed courageous. Now, is the president an overconfident man? Let me first of all try and answer that by using some examples whereby we can use to really determine that, is this man overconfident? Some of his actions, some of his orations in the past, some of the things he has done, what does he point to? Does he point to courage, or does he point to overconfidence? Let me start with Bola Ahmed Tinubu, this bid for the presidency. When the election was about to be held, you remember the statement, Amadibo, Amawole. You remember that statement? You would ask yourself that, was he speaking out of courage or was he speaking out of confidence? Whereby he said, Egbe pokpamo, Egbe naira pamo, which means you hoard fuel, you denied people access to the naira. Irregardless of that, we are going to vote and we are going to be victorious. That statement sounds kind of like, like a man that is unbothered, like a man that his electoral victory is already a fait accompli. It wasn't speaking like a candidate that is not sure that the election can go either ways. Now, the thing is, you might want to say that, is it wrong for the president to be sure of his victory? And I would answer you yourself, when you write an exam, are you sure of your victory? You read for the exam, you wrote the exam, you are sure that you answered the question correctly based on the lectures and the reading material. But when you write the exam and they say result is out, your heart still beats fast. People listening to me that have attended tertiary institutions will understand me. Your heart still beats fast, despite the fact that you know that you wrote that exam correctly. So even if you are, let's say, sure of your victory, if you say that, oh, the election will come up and you are going to be victorious, does that speak to courage or overconfidence? Now, if you are in doubt of whether, or you want to kind of like erase my fact that is not overconfidence, let me give you another example. During the period of the election, before the election, The president made a statement. He said, whether you vote or not, we will remove fuel subsidy. Record that statement, that whether you vote or not, we will remove fuel subsidy. We, in this case, refers to his political cycle. So we can say we in this case is singular. We means plural, which means more than two. So if you are saying we, that means you are not referring only to yourself. So in this case, I take we, the word we, as singular and plural, which means that we means he and his political cabinet. He and the people he have his mind to run the government with. So if you say whether people vote or not, you will remove first of, that means you are already sure that whether people vote or not, you guys will be the one to rule over the affairs of the country. Is that a courageous statement or an overconfident statement? Now, let me move into another example. If you are still doubting, if you are not sure, let me dive further. You know that during election, debate, electoral debate, is one of the ways to convince undecided voters. In other words, when you are selling your policies and they say, oh, come and debate with your fellow contestant, it is a way to sell yourself to a particular class of the society, which is the elite, the educated, those that can distinguish between the effectiveness of policies, for you to show people how sound you are. But during the presidential election, the president shunned the presidential debate. Then you ask yourself that in other climes, you dare not shun a debate. Look at how debate helped Donald Trump in the US against Joe Biden. From just one single debate, people were able to know that, oh, Joe Biden age is no longer on his side and he may not be able to perform as excellently as people expected, or perhaps to some people as he used to perform. And people that used to support Joe Biden before, even in his party, moved against him. So it was that debate that exposed Biden's mental alertness and capacity. So if you shun debate and you don't even bother, is it courage or overconfidence? I'll give you an example. In Edo State, the APC candidate, Monday Okpebolo, has shown all media invite. He has failed to appear on any TV station. The candidate of the Labour Party and the PDP have appeared on TV stations. Arise News has sent invite. Monday Okpebolo have failed to appear. Is he following the footsteps of the president as his political role model? Or is it just overconfidence? Or is it trying to kind of like show that debate or speaking to the people via the media just doesn't matter? So the president shunning the debate before the 2023 election, I ask, is it overconfidence or is it just being a courageous man that, okay, even if I don't take this step, I will get the result that I am looking for? But politics is about the people. It's about conviction. It's about interaction. So shunning debate, does it make the president an overconfident or a courageous man? Now, if you are still doubting, let me dive further. The May 29 subsidy removal announcement. In the speech of the president, before he announced that first subsidy gone, that famous quote, he said in his speech that he will consult, that all action that will be taken by his administration will be based on consultation. Now, you can agree with me that most likely that speech was written for him by his political aides and assistants. It was a written speech. But while reading the speech, you know they say character is a flame. There's no way you can hide it. It will find its way out. You are reading a speech that says that you will always consult. And in that same breath, when you went off speech, you went against what you just read in the speech. You have not been president for more than 30 minutes or 1 hour. You just took out of office. You have not sat on the pre-seat or the seat that other presidents have sat on in Aso Rock. You have not held any presidential meeting. You have not held any consultation in your capacity as president. And there is no pre-inaugural consultation maybe with labor, civil societies, and other stakeholders. And in that speech, while you were delivering yourself, you went off script and said fuel subsidy gone. That shows a contrary to who you are as a person and the speech you are reading. So you going off script and just saying fuel subsidy gone, is it based on overconfidence, or is it that you are just a courageous man? That begs the question. So that has been made me thinking that the man, President Bola Tinubu, is he a confident man, or should I say an overconfident man, or is he just a courageous man? Because if you say fuel subsidy gone, damning the consequence, and you remove fuel subsidy, and now you should I call this latest increment a remover of fuel subsidy? That brings more question than answers. That even after the removal of the fuel subsidy, you still went ahead to remove the subsidy on electricity, making life more unbearable for the Nigerian people. When you are doing that, and the people that don't want to empower are more than the people that want to empower. What do I mean by that? If you look at the last election, if you had the vote of NNPP guy, this Senator Rabi Musa Kwakwanso, Atiku Abubakar of the PDP, and Peter Obi of the Labour Party, if you had all their vote, they are more than the vote that Bola Tinubu used to win the election. So that means that people that naturally don't want to empower, if you sum all of them, are more than people that want to empower. So you should naturally be pampering the people. You should naturally be persuasive. But when you are not persuasive, when you are not pampering the people, when you are taking policies that makes life unbearable for the people, are you overconfident, or are you just simply a courageous man? That begs the question. So the thing is, if you remove the price of electricity, the first subsidy on electricity, the subsidy on electricity, if you remove the subsidy of the naira against the dollar, if you float the naira, that naira should find its value, and you are doing all these things in your first term, whereby you would naturally want a second term, and you should be pampering the people, are you an overconfident or a courageous man, Bola Tinubu? Are you an overconfident or a courageous man? Because all the action that he has been taking, he has been damning the consequence. In a democracy, you are to dialogue, you are to be persuasive. But this man has not gone into much dialogue or into much persuasion. He has been taking his decision, not minding who sucks is God. So you ask yourself, is this out of overconfidence, or is this out of courage? If you are still doubting, let me dive further. When Labour first of all went on a protest, that one of the first protests that Labour embarked on, I think it lasted for maybe a day or two before Labour called off the strike. Before they called off the strike, I think it was like a day strike or 2 day strike. When the president was to give a speech in Lagos after the strike, I was watching him on TV. He was commissioning a project. It was an official visit to Lagos, and he responded to Labour's action, and he took a swipe at Labour. He said Labour should remember that they are not the only one that can protest, or they are not the only one that can clamor for the Nigerian people. Looking at the statement of the president in that speech, it shows some kind of a man that is disconnected from the agitation of Labour. And I was looking at, why is this man speaking with so much confidence? So I was imagining that, is this man being overconfident for reason best known to him? Or is he just, an overly courageous man? That begs the question. Now, the way his government has been taking action without consultation and consequence has made me think that this man, is he overconfident, or is he just a courageous man? Because if you remove fuel subsidy, or should I say removal of fuel subsidy, and you are planning to increase VAT by 10%, when you are not in the country. And don't forget that a protest just ended, the End Bad Governance protest. Something as sensitive as removal of fuel subsidy, and that action couldn't have been done without your express approval. It's not possible for anybody to just unilaterally wake up and remove fuel subsidy without the buy-in of the president, because if it boomerangs, you will tell the president who gave you the order and authority for you to go and announce the removal of fuel subsidy. So taking this action that can lead to protest, that can lead to public outcry in the country without you being present in the country, is it overconfidence or courage? Now, based on all these examples that I've given, let me now try to situate it in context of whether the president is courageous or not. You see, people that are courageous, that takes courageous action, are people that takes action that they lead by example, and the action will be in the overwhelming interest of the people. The action of Bola Tinubu, has it been in the overwhelming interest of Nigerians, and has it been leading by example? If you say I understand your pain, and people are protesting about bad governance, and you said I have heard your cry, people say they are hungry, and you are still increasing the price of fuel, and you are planning to add 10% value added tax. The thing is, are you walking the talk when you say that you feel their pain? So your statement contradicts your action, and it is showing that, do you really have any plan to cushion the effect of hardship on the people when you are bringing more hardship? Because between now and August 1, when that protest held, life has become more hard for Nigerians. Then the other aspect is leading by example. As the president be leading by example, if you increase the price of goods and service, but you are living large, if you are telling Nigerians to endure the pain, but you are living a lavish lifestyle, whereby you buy Airbus, whereby your deputy is living in a house that costs 21 billion naira, whereby you are creating more ministries that will cost Nigeria money, whereby you appointed the highest number of ministers in the history of Nigeria, and you tell people that endure, are you not supposed to be prudent in your spending? Are you not supposed to be saving money? So when you do all this and you are damning the consequence, it still begs the question that, are you just overconfident or a courageous man? Based on my little analysis on the attitude of courageous men, whereby they take action for the benefit of the greatest number of people in their constituency. But in this case, the actions of the president, the removal of fuel subsidy before now, the increase in tax, what has happened to it largely is creating comfort for the political class. That's what has happened largely. If Labour has not taken action, if they have not threatened fire and brimstone, I'm sure that by now, maybe people will still be receiving 30,000 as minimum wage. So if people are now collecting 70,000 naira, and the bread that they are buying before, in fact, it saves Nigeria a lot of stress for you to return the fuel to 180 something that you met it and still be paying the 30,000 naira, because the 30,000 then has more value than 70,000 now. So the thing is, if you are taking this action, can we say you are courageous? Because has that action been taken to create succumb for the people, and are you leading by example? The answer is no. So that summarily means that you are more of an overconfident man. You have been taking these decisions out of overconfidence than out of courage. And an example that came to mind is when the president was in Lagos and he said, oh, don't mention the name of this APC deputy governor, no, PDP deputy governorship candidate in Lagos, Funke Akindele, that famous actress. The way the president spoke, that don't even mention that name in my presence. Is that not like an overconfident speech? So what I can use it to advise to the president, the advice I can give to the president is, please reduce this overconfidence small, because we are in a democracy. If people, you can only kind of like gain that second term if majority of people are not against you. If people come out all en masse against you, there's no way you can force yourself into power. Because if the north are not in your support, if the southwest, your people, are not buying into your policies, the southeast are not in support of you, the south doesn't have your time, how do you want to win again as president? So this overconfidence, won't it make you to be an OTP, one-time president? For those that are overly protective of the president, I'm doing my job as a political scientist. I do not have access to the president. I can only speak my mind. And if you don't want to hear the truth, if you don't want to, for people to kind of like talk about you, don't come to public office. If you are in public office, you belong to the people. And it is the job of political scientists like me to give you feedback. Because eventually, if some of all these your action boomerangs, or if you go and lose the election, tapes like this will be played that, oh, there are people that have given you advice. So it is an advisory video. Not that I'm tackling the personality or image of the president. No, it is for me as a political scientist, as a social scientist, to give my expert opinion and give a free advice to the president. Just free advice to the president that please reduce this overconfidence and let your actions start being that will bring succumb to the people. Because all what Nigeria needs right now is not more problem, is not more tax, is not more hardship. It is succumb and succumb and succumb and succumb. So please, Mr. President, take things small. It's been an interesting time with you on this episode with Polythink with Dr. Omoshola Deji. I've shared my mind with you. I've shared my thoughts with you. Please be kind to share your own thought with me in the comment section as well. I love to read your comment. And if you look at my past videos, I do respond to comment. So please, I want to hear from you. Let's learn from each other. You've learned from me. Let me learn from you in the comment section as well. Till I come your way very soon. I'm not always far from you. This is where you get all the real analysis, the detailed analysis, the expert analysis from a political scientist. I'm not a social commentator. I'm not, I'm not a public analyst or an opinionist. I am a political scientist by training. So if you want to get the best of analysis on politics and happenings in the polity, this is the channel to stay tuned to. Polythink with Dr. Omoshola Deji. Till I come your way very soon, trust me, I love you all sincerely.